My third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi y'all, Weather Guy here. We are back with some more great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and I actually already did the intro about 20 seconds ago. And I didn't realize that I wasn't recording, so we're a few seconds in. You haven't missed anything, though, I promise. Yeah, let's get back into it. We are about to start the trial of the fourth case. We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. This is so true, like, we should not be the person handling murder cases when we are such an inexperienced lawyer. Surely there's other people who can handle these cases and go against Van Zieks, you know? But it wouldn't be interesting if that was the case either, would it? Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Who is this? Is this our buddy Van Zieks? No. It's our Mr. Natsume, our client. Mr. Natsume, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. Dude, this guy, no way he's hiding sleep. The leaper catches a worm, as they say here in Britain. At least I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. This guy is insane, dude. I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? That's right, this guy has a lot of books in his apartment. You saw that. Or rather, in the room that he's renting, not necessarily an apartment. Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. And he's obviously really trembling. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Hello, locum student Mr. Ryu Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. You know why that might be, Mr. Sato? Gosh, I really don't want to go against Van Zieks again. He's a cool character, but he is tough cookie. I'm sorry, Mr. Ryo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence, then, is that it? Don't hide the truth from me. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Yeah. Lord Van Zieks? Is that right, Mr. Sato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zieks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Grexus told us something similar, didn't he? I want to talk to Inspector Grexton again. I missed him. Dude, this guy is so cool. Look at him. Look at the absolute aura on this guy. It's insane. Insane. The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zieks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Oh, what a harrowing experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. We wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. Oh dear, I mean no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of the infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. There's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student Mr. Ryu Esquire, it's you! Hey, well, I suppose that's true. I forgot to turn the fan on in here. I'm gonna get hot. Oh boy. Both times it's you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. I can only be another example, Mr. Ryu, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student new to London with little in the way of experience or skills or luck, but I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Ryu Esquire. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent, non-locum assistant, Mrs. Mikatoba Esquire. This guy is so extra. Actually, 90% of the characters on the show are pretty extra. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Alright, let's get into the frickin' courtroom. Let's start the trial. I want to meet the jurors. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes! Fantastic. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. My second trial against the Reaper. Hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. We gotta get shot. We'll figure it out. Somehow. I have no idea who killed the lady in the street. But I really don't think it's our client this time. Mr. McGilded was definitely guilty, though. Oh, we have the same judge again, naturally.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare the court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. Oh gosh, I love seeing Ryu on screen. He's just hilarious looking. I don't know what it is. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Dude, do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Sasada. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Oh, she's talking shit back. Give him the swirl. Do the swirl. Very true. And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate, violent end. I don't know, man. I don't trust this Van Zeeks fellow. He might actually just be a big ol' asshole.
Thank you, counsels.
I see both sides are in fine fettle.
Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
Oh, we have the same jurors again? No! No. This isn't a juror. This was one of the witnesses last time. He was on the roof of the carriage. He was the one who had financial troubles with Mr. McGilded. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that Muster Foreigner did the deed. Was that the maid? Of, Garadeb? Is that his name?
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway.
Alright. Don't quite catch that. Okay, you can't hear. That's going to be interesting. A little hiccup in our shenanigans.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. Oh, brutal. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. Knife crime, I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst, bloody oath they are. Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Oh, racistly.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to convince the jurors all over again, which was a pain last time, but it's okay. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Oh, is this Gregson? Yeah. I love Gregson with his fries. Or chips, rather. Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson. Tobias Gregson. Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be.
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. That's right, she's not dead. I forgot, she's comatose. So she may wake up. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger?
Fortunately for the Eastern student, this charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. Very no-nonsense, plain Inspector Gregson. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is a case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence if you please.
Let's take a second to look at our court record before we go on. Local map, anything to see here? I wonder if this is gonna be important, this Calabash Road that comes around the side. I don't know. Alright. Let's look at the secondhand book receipt. This is the one that we found in Mr. Natsume's room, I believe. That it showed that he was at the bookstore right before the crime took place to show that he was walking back. This is the case file that we just received. 2 pages. Let's see what this says. Incident report details young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim Olive Green, female, stout build, early 20s, pavement of Briar Road, east side. Royal Beat. Victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away, while the reporting officer was successfully arrested the following day. Okay, so nothing really new and interesting there yet. What of the weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scrag good-looking Soseki, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript.
Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Oh, we got something else to look at.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
Let's look at the court record at the knife real quick. Okay, anything else interesting? No inscriptions. Just so we can look at the blade. Or does it pop open? It does. Maybe there's something here now. Seemingly not. Okay. Closes it back. Let's open it back up again. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be anything else. Huh. Ah, there is something. The point of it is broken off or something. Interesting. Oh, look here, Mr. Ryu, just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Sato. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes, you don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Okay. From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth mentioning, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting secondhand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
That's important information. If theft and grievance have been ruled out as a motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Here we go. That's so extra. I wish I had the money to do something like that. He's so cool, though. He can get away with it. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. Let's get the information. I think this Gregson also is going to be like a totally straight shooter, not really hiding anything, you know? He just gives me those vibes. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. Seems very straightforward, sadly, for us.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. Perfect. Let's look at these books.
Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
Alright. We'll check this out. See what we can find out. Knife. Book. 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 Seemingly nothing interesting. Okay. You Nipponese are a spineless breed. Actually, I want to look at something else. How many books did he check out? It is 3 books. Okay. Too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, Forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Ryu? Now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. Uh-huh. Yep. He was passing by her. And then she passed out and had a knife in her back. I wonder if the knife was already in her back and something made it sink in further. Who knows? Green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? Dude, that voice doesn't match her face at all, but I just love doing it. The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the 2 of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Dude, I love the way he points. He like sort of points with all of his fingers. It's so sick.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, Counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Alright, let's see what we can do. Time to start pressing, baby. Press 'em.
Hold it!
Light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though. That's light, is it? Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. Yes. How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm.
Indeed. The other day, I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the
Carriage they were pulling. Sasato and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Alright, let's continue. This bill is reasonably good for us. No one else but the victim and the accused. How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand should it be necessary. But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. Point. But here, in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Ah. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
What, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to... It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Okay. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and blah blah blah, flat from the pavement. From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print, definitely stabbed from behind.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition. Comatose, no less.
I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's being treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement. But it wasn't to be.
Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings, think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene.
Yes, the 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust a knife into the woman's back?
That must be what happened, my lord. Yes. Yep, number of old books.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a secondhand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Oh, this is interesting. It's right there. The closest secondhand bookshop is the accused's lodgings. To the accused's lodging is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaw Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end, which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. This is all very true and makes sense. Something like this. That's good. That's good info to have. I'm going to look at it in the court record too, just to confirm what it looks like. Just to see it. Yep, sure enough. So I wonder if we're going to get another location or two marked on here as well.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Ryu, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being crucial detail in what you just told the court, Inspector, is the location of the bookshop. Hang on. Your books. No, it's a different bookstore. That's what it is. Bookstore. No. I couldn't agree more. So, where is it exactly? Huh? I got the map out and everything. Used red bloomin' ink and drew the bloke's route home for you.
And I distinctly remember seeing you nod along, Counsel.
I should have taken more time before answering that question. The blunder of the day goes to you, my learned friend. No, not yet. The trial's only just begun, after all. Mr. Ryu, I would strongly advise you to look carefully through the court record at this stage. Yeah. Inspector, continue with your testimony, please. I'm going to go back to that in a moment.
Hold it!
You've asked for the help of the famous detective Sherlock Holmes to locate the defendant, I believe? Stuff and nonsense. Sorry? That jack in office, that busybody, just comes and sticks his oar in whether we ask him or not. But according to what I have here, Mr. Sholmes was shown to the scene by Scotland Yard detectives. Well, that was nothing to do with me. The lads at the scene must have done it without my permission. I tell them time and again, whenever something happens, send word to headquarters. Then follow your bloomin' instructions. I see. That Miller gets his hands on any details, we'll all be reading in Rant's magazine next month. You can bet your last farthing that'll be in there too. Stripped of all my hard work on the case. That'll be in there too. Inspector, if the man is proving detrimental to the Yard's activities, perhaps I should step in and deal with him? Oh gosh. That's scary to think about. It appears Inspector Gregson is lost for words. Yes, the Reaper's words carry a lot of weight, obviously. Anyway, the point is this, that little Japanese bloke's already admitted it. He's admitted that those books all over the pavement at the scene were the ones he bought that day. What do you think, Mr. Ryu? You're unable to sway the jury during this cross-examination, I'm afraid. That Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed. Oh, sorry. That Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed? Yes, they're sure to find him guilty. So one way or another, I have to expose an undeniable inconsistency in the inspector's testimony. Yeah, we're gonna go back. Do I present here?
Objection!
I might be at the wrong part to do this. Let's just consider that... Yeah, we're at the wrong point. I know what I'm trying to do. I just failed at doing it in the correct way. It's okay. It happens. No big deal.
Hold it!
Alright, let's see so we get to the map again. Uh-huh. Bourbon Books, but he was actually at your books. And I wonder if we'll get your books marked on the map as well. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe? Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord, whatever you say. Can the man be any more sardonic? Dude, he did a total Chandler from Friends thing there. Now this is where we do it.
Objection!
If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. You found that in the accused's room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accuser would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop with which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. The defendant has been returning from Bourbon Books. Then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books. It may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. That be true? My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. Oh man. Let's just put Your Books on the map, please. Let's figure this out. Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street going east. Aha, so he could have went down Calabaster Street or whatever, Calabash Road. And there you have it. As you can clearly see now. Oh. Oh gosh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. This guy's the worst. Grr, you put that glass down or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accuser was coming home from your books instead of bourbon books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Why is this all going to be relevant then? That's interesting.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Gosh, they're going to run out of glasses. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Brutal, dude. Getting our butts kicked over here. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say, huh? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? This guy has no clue what's going on. He's not on this earth. Mr. Ryu, you mustn't give up. What do you mean? The prosecution's assertion is correct. The members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. She's absolutely right. You must think. You must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. He claims Ryunosuke must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but I didn't see what the other option was. I didn't mean to click ads. I'm sorry. Fundamentally flawed assertion.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked. I have thoughts on this, actually. And it's very simple. Our client already said that he walked behind the victim. Right? Which means that he likely took the route that the prosecution is saying. You know? Interesting.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
But, yes, I've got it. Obviously, you must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. That's so useless. Oh my goodness. How do you not know which way you walked home? Especially the night you saw a murder. Attempted murder. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Right, what say you, insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... We're getting destroyed here. Oh no. Oh gosh, we're getting destroyed. I agree with Lord Zevanziks, wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean we members of the jury are completely convinced now? This is bad news bears for the home team.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty! Guilty!
Oh, I actually wasn't that far off with the maid. That's so sick. The way that works. Sit in the fire. So now we have to do the thing we did last time, presumably.
It would appear the jury's leanings is unanimous.
Don't break it. Okay. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. Mr. Ryu? He is dead to the world. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I had to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I had to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So, I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. That's right.
Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley.
Very well, then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
Judicial findings. Okay, honestly, this is a good place to stop. Next time we're going to complete our summation examination. And then who knows what's after that. I have no idea. We might move on to additional witnesses. I don't know. But yeah, felt good. We still have not made any significant progress as far as finding out what really happened. And we're still not confident that we are able to prove that our guy is innocent, Mr. Natsume. But I'm pretty sure he's innocent. I just don't know how to prove it. But that's all I got. Thank you all so much for hanging out. You're awesome. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of others. And I will see you next time. Peace out.